up on the Q30 Newscast, students are getting charged $50 a night.
And advising has changed a lot over the past year with COVID.
And find out what a local animal rescue is doing to get on the map.
All that and more on the Q30 Newscast.
Welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm your anchor, Karina Kamey.
And I'm Chris Longchamp. A lot has happened in terms of news this week, so let's get right into it.
On the Rocks, Quinnipiac's on-campus pub is finally set to reopen on October 18th after almost 2 years of closure.
Chief Experience Officer Tom Ellett said that the pub would open regardless of their pending liquor license, with hopes of opening 2 to 3 days a week and hosting special events like game nights, live entertainment, musical events, and more.
Student organizations, however, will be charged a fee to host any of their events in the pub. Nonetheless, students seem excited about having another place to eat and hang out on campus.
And with that, let's take a look at the latest COVID numbers from this week. There are 8 current active cases. There have been 4 new cases in the past week. And since the start of the semester, there have been 46 total active cases.
International students will be required to pay for the days spent living on campus during this year's Thanksgiving break. Avril Evans spoke with some students to find out their feelings about Quinnipiac's decision.
Earlier this month, students at Quinnipiac received an email about Thanksgiving housing. Students are required to pay a fee of $50 a day they stay on campus during the break. But with some students being international, traveling home doesn't seem realistic.
Like personally, and a lot of friends I know, we plan months ahead. You know, we gotta have the tickets like 6 months in advance to 3 months in advance. So all of our money is budgeted. And for this to come like right at this moment, it's a little bit upsetting.
Some say that their best option to avoid the cost of staying on campus is to go home with friends.
Actually, a couple of my teammates offered me to go home with them, so yeah, I might go home with them.
Vice President of the International Student Association, Genesis Scoa, believes that the last-minute changes affects international students more heavily due to planning.
Last-minute changes always hit the international students the hardest because, like I said, we have to plan our lives out a year in advance.
Though there has been a fee exemption form sent out for international students.
As an international student, they send us a form we could fill out if we want to stay on campus so that we don't have to pay the fee, but still for other students that don't go home, I thought it was, not a good thing to do.
Reporting for Q30 News, my name is Avril Evans.
We are in the middle of Indigenous Peoples Week here at Quinnipiac. Events so far have included a celebration over Zoom on Monday, a student perspectives panel on Tuesday, and tonight kicking with the Inuit G-Board meeting. Tomorrow there will be a movie night of Gather, and finishing off the week is a culture fair on the quad.
We go to a school that's on Native land that carries a Native name, so every single person on campus is kind of a part of this greater entity that is like Quinnipiac, and that does represent the Quinnipiac people that were named after.
SPB and WQAQ's Fall Fest is rapidly approaching on October 23rd. It'll mark the first live concert in 2 years held on campus. Opening this year's indie singer Grayson DeWolf, followed by a special performance from Trevor Daniel at 3:30, and headlining the night is pop artist Rebecca Black at 5 p.m.
With the university bringing most classes back in person this year, Q30's Luca Triant reports on how advising has changed between this year and last year.
At the forefront of helping students find what classes they'll be taking next semester is advising. However, just as with all aspects of school life, advising was affected by the pandemic last year.
I would say that advising was challenging like everything as we moved to, being remote and learning and teaching and working from our homes.
Despite the challenges, advising has continued for students across campus. Students have been reaching out to their advisors to get help as the selecting period comes soon. But in the next few weeks, it's a critical time for students to get the guidance that they need. Students spoke out about their thoughts on advising and how it's helped them get prepared for the next semester.
I'm thinking this semester might be a little better with advising, especially since we have the option of meeting our advisor in person on campus. I'm thinking that in-person aspect will enhance it a little bit more than last semester.
I met with my advisor every 2 to 3 weeks, really going through the process, picking what courses I want to go to. It really helped me, and the advising here is just a nice group of guys.
Dean Reinhardt believes that the way advising has worked since COVID has been more effective.
I think that my students and my advisees benefited because I felt like I was available almost around the clock. It's a positive on both sides. We're not wearing masks in many cases on these Zoom advising meetings, but it's more of a conversation between two people instead of, someone sitting across a big desk.
The period to register for classes starts November 1st at 7 o'clock a.m. For Q30 News, I'm Luca Triant.
The Department of Cultural and Global Engagement hosted a conversation to understand the Latinx LGBTQ+ experience. The event was in honor of Latinx Heritage Month and LGBTQ+ History Month. The purpose of the conversation was to address concerns of the Quinnipiac University. A group of students is getting together to discuss diversity, equity, and inclusion. The group is overseen by Professor Torres and Quinnipiac sophomore Madison King. It is a safe space for students to come and share their experiences.
The past meeting that we had was super powerful, and people were able to come forward with their stories, and I think that's super important. And I also think that it was really vital that we had student voices as well as faculty voices. And people were actually talking to each other and acknowledging each other's voices and stories and everything.
October is Italian American Heritage Month. This month we celebrate and honor Italian immigrants and their descendants living in the United States. Vanessa Blasi interviewed the president of the Italian American Heritage Club to get her perspective on the importance of this month.
I think it's really important to celebrate your heritage no matter where you're from. We're all in the Northeast, most of us are from the Northeast, so a lot of us are Italian, as that's kind of where they all settled. So I think it's pretty cool to kind of come together and celebrate that on campus.
Our first break of the show is coming up, but when we come back,
learn about the crisis at the border, a national news update, and a car smashing event.
But before we go, Jess Berdrad has a weather update. Take it away, Jess.
Thanks, Karina. Today was a pretty nice day out with a high of 73, low of 60. Tomorrow is going to be sunny, partly cloudy with a high of 77 and a low of 58. For Friday, I would definitely recommend bringing an umbrella or a rain jacket. It's going to be raining all throughout the day with a high of 74 and a low of 62. Stay tuned for the 7-day forecast after this break.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. It's here. It's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
The Department of Cultural and Global Engagement is kicking off a second year of their language exchange program. This volunteer opportunity gives QU students the chance to meet with English language learners and help them through instructor-guided assignments, all while making new friends.
allowing people from two different societies, two different countries to be able to get together and talk. I think that that's just so impactful to be able to make that networking opportunity and just give us and them that opportunity.
Last night, Quinnipiac Cultural and Global Engagement hosted a Crisis at the Border panel to address the current crisis at the U.S. border, discuss immigration policies and their effects on Haitian asylum seekers. The panel was moderated by Damian Lane, Director of Multicultural Education and Training.
There was a certain amount of hope that folks spoke about with incremental changes to immigration law and immigration policy that folks can see. I think there's a different lens on what's happening with the refugees.
The Car Club hosted an event today at noon. The event was to support the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Half of the proceeds from the event went to the Research Foundation. This was the fourth time that the event was hosted by the Car Club. Wheelers Towing was the company that provided the totaled car so that students, faculty, and staff had the opportunity to smash the car with a sledgehammer. The Hamden Police Department is receiving a $60,000 grant from the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation. The grant coming from the state is from the 2022 Distracting Driving High Visibility Enforcement Program. This program aims to reduce distracted driving as a cause of accidents and injuries caused by handheld devices. Over the past 3 years, there have been 1,800 infractions over the enforcement campaign. The grant was approved by the governor's highway safety representative. And now we're going to send it over to Q30's Katie Cohen with the national news update. Katie, what happened across the country this week?
Thanks, guys. On Monday, the 125th Boston Marathon was held after being canceled last year due to COVID-19. This year was unique because it was the first time in more than a century that the marathon took place in the fall instead of the spring. Originally planned for April 2020, the marathon was postponed and then canceled. The men's race was finished by Kenyan Benson Kipruto in just under 2 hours and 10 minutes. Kipruto was not in front for the majority of the marathon, but beat the second place winner by 46 seconds. Diane Kipyoge, also from Kenya, won the women's race, which led to the 8th Kenyan sweep of the Boston Marathon since 2000. While many companies across the nation are struggling to hire, Florida school districts have reported around 5,100 teaching positions that remain unfilled. The number of teacher vacancies has increased 67% since 2000, according to the Florida Education Association president, Andrew Spar. This number has surged since the beginning of the school year 2 months ago. There are many reasons speculating why these school districts cannot hire teachers, including low pay in the state. Teachers in Florida make an average of $10,000 less than the average teacher in the United States. The pandemic has caused more stress on teachers, and these vacancies are leaving schools struggling. As the Gabby Petito investigation continues, her cause of death was announced yesterday as a homicide by strangulation. Petito went missing while on a cross-country road trip with her fiancé in August. They were questioned by police and separated due to a dispute in Utah, but continued their trip after one night apart. Coroner Dr. Brent Blue announced in a press conference the cause of death was manual strangulation, but he did not provide any further details from the autopsy. Petito's body was left in a forest in Wyoming for 3 to 4 weeks before being found on September 19th, just 8 days after being reported missing. Her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, is a person of interest in the case and has been unaccounted for exactly 1 month now. That's all for national news. Back to you at the desk.
We're going to take our second commercial break of the night.
We'll have your 7-day forecast, some food trucks coming to campus, and Mason Glad catching you up on all the political news of the week.
We'll be right back.
Maybe you can make retirement happen.
After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Karina, it's been a little hazy outside these past couple mornings.
Yeah, and I have to agree. And I'm hoping that's not going to continue much longer because driving to work in the 5 a.m. fog has not been fun.
And now joining us to break down the forecast, Q30's Jess Brizraj. Jess, when can we expect some relief from these hazy conditions?
It's hard to say, Chris, but if we look at our surrounding cities, you can see a little bit of hazy conditions. You see New Haven is 61 degrees. We have Torrington with 57, Hartford 60. We have Danbury and New London 59, Norwich 58, a little chill over there. And now we're going to get into our 7-day forecast. So Saturday, it's looking rainy with a high of 74, low 50. I recommend you guys stay indoors that day. It's going to be raining all throughout the day. Stay inside, watch a movie. And then Sunday through Monday, it's partly sunny and partly cloudy with a high of 63 and a low of 46. Monday and Tuesday, it's going to be low 60s and high 40s. Perfect weather for apple picking, pumpkin picking, go to Sleeping Giant, take a hike. That's all the weather I have for you. I'm Jess Bridgeraj, back to you at the desk.
Food trucks are back at QU, but using your meal plan to pay for them isn't. Eric Kerr took to the quad to get students' thoughts on the new trucks and the new payment.
Food trucks are still driving to Quinnipiac, but just not as often as last year. The trucks started parking on campus last month, accepting meal plan money for food once a day, 3 days a week, a decline from what was at least 2 meals a day from the trucks Monday to Friday. Owner of Spuds Your Way, Jared Cohen, says scheduling from the university with Food Fleet, the company behind the machine that accepts mobile dining transactions such as a swipe from a Q card, determines how often they can come to campus and whether they can accept meal plan.
They have it set up so only designated time slots we're able to pull the tablets from their office. They won't allow, if like a student or an organization is running an event, they won't allow us to pull a tablet for that event. It has to be through the Food Fleet.
Meal plan or no meal plan, students like eating the food from food trucks as a break from the cafeteria.
It's just nicer to have a different option than just the food in the caf.
It's the same thing every day. We used to go there, we just get pasta. But here it's always something different. Like I said, lobster. Now I have baked potato, which I haven't had potatoes in forever.
Baked potatoes like these from Spuds Your Way is just one option that Quinnipiac students are craving from this year's food truck lineup menu this semester. 7 other vendors have made it to campus thus far, including burritos and churros from Los Mariachis on Wheels and a variety of sandwiches from the Liberty Rock Tavern. The first day of fall just passed a couple of weeks ago, but any signs of colder weather will not stop the food trucks from coming.
Sam? We run year-round, so it doesn't matter the weather, whether it's raining, snowing, we show up.
And the students still have plans to come right back.
It could be snowing and I'll be out here.
I don't mind standing out in the cold for a little bit if it's to get some good food.
Eric Kerr, Q30 News.
Now joining us in studio, Q30's Mason Glaude joins us with the political news update for the week. Mason?
Thank you, Karina and Chris. Let's get right into it. Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued an executive order on Monday banning all private employers and state entities from enforcing vaccine mandates. In a statement, Abbott said, quote, "The COVID-19 vaccine is safe, effective, and our best defense against the virus, but should remain voluntary and never forced," end quote. Abbott also called on state legislators to pass a law with the same effect. This move by Abbott goes directly against President Biden's efforts to increase vaccine mandates nationwide. Former President Donald Trump attacked Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell this past weekend. Trump criticized McConnell for making a deal with Senate Democrats on a temporary debt ceiling deal. McConnell led 10 other Senate Republicans to vote with Democrats to overcome a filibuster. Trump's comments come after months of continued criticism against McConnell, raising tension in the party. Still, Trump has continued hinting at a 2024 presidential campaign. President Joe Biden issued a proclamation on Friday commemorating October 11th as Indigenous Peoples Day, becoming the first U.S. president to do so. In his proclamation, he said, quote, "The contributions that Indigenous peoples have made throughout history in public service, entrepreneurship, scholarship, the arts, and countless other fields are integral to our nation, our culture, and our society," end quote. Biden issued another proclamation commemorating October 11th as Columbus Day as well. That's all I have for politics this week. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you so much, Mason. It's time for our last commercial break of the night.
But when we come back, we'll have a sports report and much more.
Stick with us.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie. Nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job. I need a new career.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
I've been there. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. After high school, I didn't have a plan.
I just wanted to start working. I got laid off twice, but you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a 2-year IT program.
I found a medical course online.
I'm now a consultant in the tech space.
You have more options than you think. You can do this. You will find something.
You will find something new.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Joe, spot me on this last one. There it is.
Keep going with it. Leo! They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Thanks for sticking with us here on the Q30 Newscast. Joining us now is Q30's Ethan Logue, catching us up on all the sports news of the week. Ethan, what do you have for us?
All right, thanks, Chris. The Quinnipiac women's ice hockey team continued their hot start to the season as they won both games this weekend against St. Anselm. The Bobcats won the first game by a final score of 4-3 before shutting out the Hawks on Saturday in a 5-0 win. However, the big news of the weekend was the return of former Bobcat Allie Kelly, who is now the starting goalie for the St. Anselm Hawks. Kelly stopped 81 of the 90 shots he faced on the weekend, and the Bobcats remain undefeated following the weekend sweep and now have tied their best ever start in program history. The Bobcats will travel to Providence, Rhode Island to take on the Providence Friars on Friday. The Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team opened their season on Friday against the 6th-ranked Boston College Eagles in the Icebreaker Tournament. The Bobcats clawed back from an early 2-0 hole against the Eagles and were able to tie the game off of goals from sophomore Ty Smolonic and junior Skylar Brindamore. Boston College was able to pick up the extra point in the shootout on Saturday, and on Saturday the Bobcats squared off against the 18th-ranked Northeastern Huskies. Quinnipiac took the win by a final score of 3-0. 2 goals from TJ Friedman, a goal from Michael Lombardi, and a 19-save shutout from sophomore Yaniv Peretz propelled the Bobcats to victory. And finally, the Quinnipiac women's soccer team picked up their 5th straight win today. The Bobcats defeated the Canisius Golden Griffins by a final score of 3-0. Selena Salas, Ella Gagno, and Markella Bejleri all scored for the Bobcats in a span of just 8 minutes. Goaltenders Megan Phillips and Sofia Lospinoso combined for a 3-save shutout. The win improves the Bobcats' record to 10-2, which is currently second best in the MAC, sitting just behind Monmouth. The Bobcats will travel to New York to take on the Siena Saints on Saturday. That's the latest in Quinnipiac sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
A local Hamden farm has some fun activities for the community.
Q30's Jack Main visited and talked with the owner. Jack has more.
This is Earl.
Earl is one of 200 animals living at Nadu Farm in Hamden.
The 5-acre property is run and maintained by Leah Hilton, her husband, and Hilton's 24-year-old daughter. Hilton's claim to fame is starting Connecticut's goat yoga craze, where people can come do yoga with baby goats crawling all around them.
It is a 1-hour-long yoga class, but there's a bunch of baby goats running around, jumping on you or laying next to you, or sometimes if they're tired, they will just literally come up, curl up in your lap, and that's it. They take a nap. If you want to sit here and spend your hours snuggling, kissing, petting, by all means, go ahead. We're not going to yell at you. You have to do yoga. No, we're not like that.
While goat yoga might be the main attraction at Nadu Farm, it shouldn't go unnoticed that Hilton does a lot more than run the place. About 80% of the animals that are on the farm are rescues from all over the country. Hilton and her family bring them in, rehab the animals, and then give them the quality of life that they deserve.
So when you get animals like this, you work with them and you gain their trust and you let them know that, listen, you're safe now. You're home.
And Hilton loves when the Quinnipiac community gets involved.
This year, thank you, Quinnipiac University, especially my sorority girls. I love you, love you, love you.
Nadu Farm is a 501c3 nonprofit livestock rescue farm. So any student who's looking for community service has the opportunity to come here, meet some friends, and do some good along the way. I'm Jack Main, Q30 News.
Well, that looked like so much fun. Do you think that you would ever try goat yoga?
I have no idea, actually. I mean, yoga is really a time where I like to focus on myself and focus inward, reflective. So I just with all the little goats running around, I don't know.
You don't think they would help?
I mean,
you don't think they would help you feel like centered in some way?
I mean, they might, but I think for me, it's my real reflection time. And for you, when you do, if you do yoga, do you? Like, is that a stress reliever for you? Is that
it's
something
a stress
you do
reliever,
often?
but so are animals for me. So I think maybe I would like it because, like, I like when my dog sits and does yoga with me. He does a very good downward dog, and he does a very good lay down. And those are his only 2 moves. But he's a good stress reliever. He's a good buddy.
Yeah.
I feel like the goats could be good yoga buddies.
Yeah, I mean, you heard it in the package. They'll just cuddle up right next to you and lay on your lap and sleep there. So I mean, who wouldn't want that to do? I mean.
Maybe we'll have to go try it one day. We'll take a nice Q30 Newscast trip to goat yoga.
Oh yeah, totally. It sounds like a great time. I think, the goats, the people, just all around awesomeness. So we got to set that up. So, at the end of the day, we got to go do some goat yoga. We got to try it for ourselves. We got to see if it actually works.
All right. Well, that is all we have time for tonight.
Be sure to check out Q30 on Instagram and Twitter at Q30 Television and download our app to stay up to date with Quinnipiac news as it comes out.
For my friend Chris Longchamp and I and everyone in the suite, I'm Karina Kamey. Have a fantastic night, friends.